Please feel free to join my Discord server to send video requests, chill, and just chat about various different topics. Link is in the description down below, and if you're watching this late, don't worry, I made sure it can't expire. Hope to see you all there. Hello everyone, this is Daikaiju SpaceZilla approaching you, and welcome to the first episode of Toho Kaiju Marathon. Today we start with the one that kickstarted the kaiju genre, King Kong. Alright, if you haven't seen the trailer or you couldn't read the text featured in it because my dumbass thought it was a good idea to have sum up for about 2.5 seconds, essentially what I do in this series of reviews is I'll be taking a look at every Godzilla and Kong film, along with all movies associated with it to celebrate the release of Godzilla Vs Kong. Even though some G-fans are in denial about it, King Kong is the one that started it all. Yes, if Kong didn't exist, there'd be no Godzilla. Might as well just kill yourself now. King Kong was directed by none other than former military veteran who battled in the Soviet Union, Marion C. Cooper, and his buddy Ernest G. Schoedsack, who worked on films like Chang, A Drama of the Wilderness, and would later team up to make a similar movie called Mighty Joe Young. King Kong was a massive success on its release, grossing over $9,000 on its opening weekend, making it the opening to have grossed more than any other film for the time of its release. Which this would dub Kong as RKO's savior for stopping the company from going bankrupt. What hasn't been said about the original King Kong? It's a classic and one of the most important pieces of media to ever exist, and it had a major influence on not only tokusatsu, but special effects-oriented cinema as a whole. The story follows actress Ann Darrow and director Carl Denham as they travel to the Indian Ocean to do location shoots for Denham's new Jungle picture. Along the way, the actress meets and falls for rugged first mate Jack Driscoll. Upon arriving at a mysterious island, Anne is taken hostage by natives who prepare her as a sacrifice to the enormous ape Kong, who rules over their jungle. But when Anne is rescued and Kong is captured, the real trouble begins. Right off the bat, King Kong informs us that we're going on an epic adventure with our leading characters, but it doesn't give away the terror of the adventure right away. The film takes its good old time to build up suspense before revealing not only Kong, but the more nasty life featured on the island too, which makes when their presence is established all the more effective. Though the plot certainly wouldn't be considered anything unique today, it is what started these types of stories and doesn't fall even slightly short from being incredibly exciting. Despite the film being the first of its kind, the pacing is surprisingly good, especially manages to impress when you look at the year it came out. There's always something going on that keeps the viewer's attention, but doesn't take away any development whatsoever, delivering a good balance of our human characters and the thrilling scenes with the monsters from the island. Now, being a movie from 1933, there's surprisingly absolutely nothing dated here in the script.
Say, what is it anyhow?
I hear it's a kind of a gorilla.
Gee, ain't we got enough of them in New York?
What?! Now, this is an old movie made back when there was still tension between races, so you gotta understand that this here is a product of its time, and it's really not worth getting outraged over. Best to just laugh at it and move on instead of letting it damage a movie as good as this. Bruce Cabot as Jack Driscoll is a snarky badass who's never less than entertaining and likable in all scenes he's in. Yeah, he's sexist for a bit, but to be honest, his distaste for women's funny, which in the end was the intention. I do find the romance aspect to be stale, hollow, and bland because it doesn't really take long for Jack to go from finding Anne to be annoying to becoming loving and protective of her. Sure, you can develop things properly in a short amount of time, but the change of heart was just so sudden. When they announced their love for each other, no strong emotion is really delivered because it felt so half-baked. Ann Darrow as a character isn't anything special, she's not cringy or unconvincing, but she serves about as much for this movie as she was for Denham's, and that is she's really just here to move the plot along. Granted, being a plot device is better than having no purpose at all, but some character development would be nice. Not to mention, after Kong takes her, she doesn't do anything but scream for a good portion of the movie. But to her credit, Fay Wray put her heart into what she was given, and nails the bimbo girl act, while also was a great start for Scream Queens. Because there's never a moment when she's in danger where she doesn't come off as terrified. Carl Denham, being based off of none other than Marion C. Cooper himself, is an individual who's willing to put all on the line for his dream, but he still cares about his crew and isn't willing to put his life before theirs. Robert Armstrong's sense of charisma also adds a likability to Denham's overall personality. Captain Englehorn, played by Frank Riker, has been in business for years, traveling around various different parts of the world, and gained a sense of indifference with the skill of knowing countless different languages, which does benefit them on the island. Now we talk about some of the most groundbreaking monsters and effects that came from this era. It is easy to see why they were held to such high standards for the time, because not only is this one of the first films that used special effects to bring monsters on screen, they set the bar very high for all films to come after. Starting off with the eighth wonder of the world, Kong. This guy is much more than just, oh, big monkey. He is an icon, and it's easy to distinguish him from your normal everyday gorilla. And though he doesn't display as much personality as later incarnations, the more curious nature Kong has in the original is fitting for our favorite monkey. It's impressive how many props they used to push the boundaries of what they could accomplish for 1933 as well. Though I can't help but feel like when it zooms in on its face, he looks horrifyingly rapey. But hey, it's not misleading, cause one point the stupid monkey gets so horny he starts taking Anne's clothes off, while moving his fingers in an extremely unsettling fashion to say the least.
Sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
There's also the iconic Mesozoic beast that Kong's Island is known to have, like the Meat Eater, which is an evolved god knows what because Willis O'Brien said it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex while Marion C. Cooper claimed it's an Allosaurus. Either way, it's kinda irrelevant what it is because regardless, the Meat Eater is an important addition to pop culture. Without it, we wouldn't have the famous battle Kong has with the theropod dinosaur. There's also the creepy cave serpent and the two-legged lizard, both appearances being brief, but nevertheless effective. There's also other dinosaurs we've come to expect in media following prehistoric creatures like the pterosaur, the stegosaurus, and the brontosaurus. I do want to note something before moving on. Please don't climb up a goddamn tree when you're trying to escape a sauropod dinosaur. It's not gonna end well, my guy.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
The action sequences for what they were capable of was some of the most ambitious for all genre films in this era, and still managed to wow even in 2021. The fight with the theropod dinosaur is not only legendary, but is the creator of kaiju battles, and I'm quite impressed with how they were able to make it as thrilling, intense, and smooth as it was. Kong going rogue on New York City serves as an equal importance to the kaiju genre, being once again fun to watch, and obviously Willis O'Brien's work is a feast on the eyes. To keep it a $1.50, the soundtrack in the original King Kong isn't anything that effective, but it was one of the first movies in Hollywood to use a fully symphonic musical score, only slightly beat to the punch by RKO's previous jungle film Birds of Paradise, which was also composed by Max Steiner. And though I wouldn't put his work up there with Akira Ifukube, the score he gave us was appropriately diverse and matched what was going on in the film. And though I don't personally find myself listening to it outside of my viewings of the movie, it's a good blend with the visuals and nevertheless enhanced the experience. Needless to say, King Kong is a classic and one of the most important pieces of media to ever exist. Yeah, I have a few criticisms here and there, but nothing too negative that hurts it much. It's entertaining, and even 88 years later, it doesn't cease to impress. Can't recommend it enough. So if you did not see it yet, what have you been doing? go and take the time out to give this superb classic a watch. I guarantee you'll come out satisfied. So that being said, I'm gonna award King Kong an excellent 9 out of 10 stars. With King Kong being the saving grace for RKO, a sequel was rushed into production the very same year called Son of Kong. Though while the first had a more serious tone, Son's much more lighthearted and comedic based. This is solely because writer of the film Ruth Rose felt there was no surpassing the first, so why not just have fun with it? On its release, it wasn't met with the most positive reception and kind of fell into obscurity till it was put on Blu-ray around 2015. So how does Son of Kong compare to its predecessor? Is it underrated or should it have been forgotten? Let's find out. After his disastrous venture with the giant ape King Kong, promoter Carl Denham flees New York to avoid indictment from a grand jury. He sails off with friend Captain Englehorn and soon gets involved with singer Helena Peterson during a show. Wait, what is up with that dude's gay-ass shirt?
Never mind.
When a crooked sea captain kills Helena's father, she stows away on board Denham's boat, which heads to Kong's home on Skull Island. There, the group befriends Kong's son, who defends them against the creatures of the island. There is no reason for Denham to make the assumption that Kiko is Kong's offspring. He just sees a giant gorilla from that island and acts so certain that he's a relative to Kong, even though there wasn't anything there for confirmation. Yeah, it's not a bad assumption. Kong's the king of his island, and Kiko's essentially a smaller and uglier version, but he acts as if this was evidence to support this claim, when nobody knew he even existed till now. There's also the ordeal with Hellstrom and Helena. He killed her father, and she had the opportunity to snitch on him with Denham and Englehorn, but just stays silent till they're about to face mutiny. But I do quite like the aspect where when Denham and Englehorn return to the island, the natives are straight up out for blood because they're aware that he's the reason Kong went on a rampage and killed their people. Sure, it's only established in one part, then they're not seen for the rest of the film, but that's all we needed, and more focus would have felt contrived and unnecessary. This one is much shorter than its predecessor, only running at a length of an hour and 10 minutes. But Son of Kong tells a much more simple story than the first, so this allows Son to avoid filler but still pack in appropriate development. In spite of the short runtime, it ironically has a better fleshed out romance than King Kong, because here it doesn't feel so forced and there's actually enough focus to develop it properly. Don't get me wrong, I've seen better, but it is a step up from the first in this particular aspect. The redemption arc for Carl Denham was good. He feels bad about what he did, and he goes out of his way to make you feel like it. He even freed Kiko from quicksand because he holds himself accountable for his father's death and wanted to do something for the family to make up for his wrongdoings. Helena Peterson, though, is incredibly bland. At least she does more than just screaming half the movie, but lacks any personality, and Helen Mack looked bored the whole time. Her father was murdered, and she's supposed to give a damn, but she doesn't provide any emotion for the character, so it comes off like she isn't affected by her loss at all. Nils Hellstrom's rather cowardly, but he's a guy who got drunk and accidentally murdered a man, so it is a convincing trait that he ends up leading to more problems. John Marston's slightly over the top where it's almost comical, but holds back enough to pull off being a captain that messed up big time and is desperate to cover it up. I like that more attention is brought to Denham and Englehorn's friendship. It has that partner in crime thing going on, and it's more than apparent these two been friends for a lifetime. And the exchange and dialogue so good, each conversation they've had was a highlight to the film.
Weather's made to order, Skipper.
I hope it holds. Next land we sight will be Kong's Island.
Yeah.
That fellow Hellstrom is getting too chummy with the crew. I don't like it.
Why don't you call him down for it?
What's your opinion of Hellstrom?
Well, he got in some trouble over losing his ship, I guess. That's pretty plain. He certainly was anxious to leave Daikaiju.
And he isn't at all anxious to get to Kong's Island. Have you noticed him when we talked about the time we were there?
Think he's scared?
Scared green.
Green now and yellow later on, eh?
Even minor characters such as Charlie has shown some love in this one, and though he's still not a major character in Son of Kong, he is put to use more, and Victor Wong's finally given the opportunity to show how entertaining he can really be.
Why doesn't Denham come back?
You better go look for him.
A smart man like you don't need a gun.
As stated, Son of Kong's a sequel that doesn't take itself too seriously. So how's the humor? I liked it. The lighthearted nature that's offered differentiated Son from the more serious and semi-dark tone the original carried, and the funny moments came in the right time and places and are sure to at least crack a smile. The special effects are once again done by Willis O'Brien, so they're still one of its strong suits. They're not on par with King Kong's, but the art of craftsmanship still makes for an enjoyable piece that still has plenty of time and effort in, even if they aren't award-winning. Kiko, he's okay. Not a great attempt at a cutesy Kong, but he's better than that autistic little cock goblin from the Godzilla franchise, but that's for another video altogether. Due to shorter running time, there isn't much creatures on Skull Island this time, but what we got is a giant cave bear, which isn't anything special. It speaks for itself. Then there's the Nothosaurus, which kinda replaced the battle with the theropod. Both fights are solid and hold decent excitement in their own right, but you don't really think about them after watching it, unlike what came before. Outside of what Kiko fought, the Styracosaurus who was removed from King Kong finally gets some time to shine, so that was cool. The soundtrack is pretty bare bones. It's forgettable and fails to enhance the visuals in any way. And to be honest, I literally had to go back and listen before doing this video because it's just that forgettable. Son of Kong doesn't come close to even holding a candle to King Kong. It was a rushed production and the outcome makes it more than apparent with all it falls short on. But there is enough highlights here that makes it a worthy follow-up, and I have fun watching it every time. So if you're looking to have a double feature on a movie night, look no further, cause these two movies will satisfy your craving. With that being said, I'm gonna award Son of Kong a decent 6 out of 10 stars. Anyway, that was it for this episode. Join me next time where we take a look at the original Godzilla. Please comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video, please hit that like button, share it around, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications to stay up to date on all my future content. Please follow me on social media too, links are in the description down below. This is Daikaiju SpaceZilla, leaving the building.